There is a scene that few have the courage to imagine. Archangel Michael, the oldest warrior in heaven, the one who holds the sword of fire that separates light from darkness, is weeping. He does not weep for himself. He weeps for you. He weeps because on the other side of the veil, he sees what you have not yet been able to see with your eyes of flesh. There is a silent pact operating against your life, against your name, against your blood. A pact that no one told you about, and worse, a pact that you yourself unknowingly have been reinforcing every day with your own thoughts, with your own words, with the way you feel about your life when no one is looking. You have spent your whole life asking God, asking the angels, asking heaven, asking life. But what no one taught you is that asking is the posture of someone who has not yet received, and while you ask, you sign, in silence, the same sentence of lack that others had already signed against you long ago. The law of assumption is clear. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you feel you already are. And it is exactly at this point, in feeling is the secret, that the pact anchors itself within you. Not in hell, not in a distant shrine, not in a forbidden book, inside you, in your state of consciousness, in the frequency with which your I am pulses every day. Today I will open before your eyes what is happening in the invisible plane surrounding your life. I will show you why so many doors close, why so many prayers seem to return unanswered, why money slips through your fingers, why love takes so long to arrive or arrives broken, why that relative does not heal, why your house seems heavy with a weight that no one can name, and most importantly, I will teach you the exact technique that Archangel Michael, within his sacred silence, is begging you to learn. Because he does not have permission to break this seal alone. The one who needs to break the pact, with their own voice, with their own feeling, with their own faith, is you. And the fact that you reached this video tonight, at this very instant, amidst millions of pieces of content on the internet, was not by chance. It was a summons. Stop for a second. Look at your own chest. Do you feel this soft pressure, this warm tightness, this tear that tries to rise and you hold back? This is the first evidence. Michael is touching you, and he does not touch the same person twice. When he knocks, it is time. There is a detail that must be said before I go any further, because without this detail, nothing that follows makes sense. This pact that is running against you was not always made against you directly. Often, it was made against someone in your lineage, and you are just carrying the echo. It may have been an old jealousy of your grandmother, a betrayal that no one forgave in your blood, a promise someone made and did not keep, a harsh word a close relative uttered in a moment of anger, and that vibrates to this day in the fourth dimension, in the dimension where time does not exist and where everything that was felt with force remains alive. That is why it feels like you are paying a bill you did not incur, because in part, you didn't. But you have in your hands now the key to annul what was signed. And the inner dialogue you maintain every day, that quiet voice inside your head, is exactly the instrument of this annulment, or of the unconscious renewal of the pact. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. Its name is How to Know If You Will Be Saved on Judgment Day. And I need to be very honest with you now, because what is happening at this moment is too big to pretend it is a common recommendation. This book reached my hands after nights of prayer, after I saw people just like you, tired people, people who had already tried everything, people who had lost hope of seeing their family healed, discover within these pages the exact moment the pact was made against them and the exact decree that broke this pact. I am not offering you a book. I am handing you a sword, the same sword that Archangel Michael uses, translated into words you can read before you sleep. The link is there in the description of this video and pinned to the top of the comments. It is not by chance that it is in two places. If you don't find it in one, the other will be there waiting, because Michael does not allow his call to be lost due to a technical detail. Hundreds of Brazilian brothers have already written to me telling me what happened after they applied what is inside. A mother who reconnected with her son, a house that finally sold, a marriage that returned, debt that vanished, and the detail that strikes me most is always the same. All of them said they felt, when downloading the book, the same pressure in their chest that you're feeling now. Do not ignore this warning. This video may be taken down at any moment, and when it goes, the link disappears with it. Comment Amen with all the strength of your heart even before continuing with me. This Amen is your first decree of acceptance of the new reality. Now pay attention, because from here on, what I'm going to tell you will require you to breathe a little slower. A spiritual pact does not work the way television soap operas taught you. There is no smoke. There is no buried doll. There is not necessarily a name crossed out on a notebook page. A pact in the invisible plane is a locked frequency. It is an emotional signature. It is a sentence that was pronounced with so much feeling, so many times, that it formed an energetic chain around a person, a house, a lineage. And here is the secret that most Brazilians have never heard. The chain only remains because the victim continues to feel what the pact predicted they would feel. Are you following? The person curses you by saying you will never have money. You spend 30 years of your life feeling every day when opening the credit card bill that you will never have money. Who is sustaining the pact? Who is renewing the signature every month? You, without knowing, in good faith, thinking you are just reacting to reality. But reality is only the mirror of the fourth dimension. And in the fourth dimension, what pulses is feeling, not fact. I know this hurts to hear, I know, because it feels like I am blaming you and I am not. I am setting you free, because the exact instant you understand that the pact is maintained by your feeling, you also understand that the pact can be broken by your feeling. And this, my brother, my sister, is the best news of your adult life. You were never a permanent victim. You were a temporary victim of a technique that no one taught you how to operate from this side. Think about it. That electricity bill that came in high this month and took away your sleep, it didn't take away your sleep because it was a number. It took away your sleep because the moment you opened it, you felt with every cell of your body, here comes another one, I can't handle it, I will never get out of this hole. This feeling, repeated on 1,000 similar nights, is the pact renewing itself. That time your son or daughter spoke harshly to you on the phone, and you hung up and went to bed with your soul torn, feeling that your family is broken forever. This feeling, older than this video, is the pact renewing itself. That person you love, who enters and leaves your life without ever staying, and you look in the mirror and feel you don't deserve a stable love. This feeling is the pact renewing itself. There is no sprinkling of coarse salt that breaks what your own feeling sustains. It has to be from within. And this is where Archangel Michael weeps, because he sees you. He sees your real value, your purpose, the luminous design that existed in your life before any sentence was pronounced against you. And he observes day after day you renewing, with your own mouth and with your own chest, what he already had authorization from heaven to cancel a long time ago. Imagine the pain of a warrior holding the sword, ready to cut the chain, and the prisoner on the other side of the bars, holding his hand and saying, "Don't cut it. I deserve to stay trapped." This is the picture. This is the reason for the tears. And that is why this video needed to reach you today. Stop. Breathe. Place your hand on your chest now. Do you feel how what I just said resonated in you? It wasn't my voice. It was the internal confirmation of your own spirit, recognizing what was happening the whole time. You didn't arrive here by mistake. You arrived here because inside you something was begging to find this explanation, and heaven provided it. Other people will pass by this same video this week and will swipe the screen. Not you. You stopped. You stayed. You felt. This means that your spiritual mission today is to hold this information with both hands and use it to protect those around you. Your mother, your father, your son, your spouse, your grandchild. Because when you break the pact in you, the chain of the entire lineage loosens. You are not here just for your own liberation. You are the portal that was marked to liberate your own. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, How to Know If You Will Be Saved on Judgment Day. With Michael's prayer and the rupture decree on the exact page you need. Go to the link in the description now or the pinned comment before the pact finds a way to distract you again. Comment, "I am ready." This comment is your second decree. Now I'm going to give you the first layer of the technique. There are 3 things that need to happen inside you, in sequence, for the pact to dismantle. The first is identification. The second is the repositioning of the state of consciousness. The third is persistence. And it is on this third point that practically all Brazilians who try to manifest a new life end up failing. But I will return to this specific error in a few minutes because it deserves an entire chapter of its own. For now, keep this word in your head: persistence. It is the mother of everything. Without it, nothing that comes after works. With it, even heaven reorganizes itself to deliver what is yours. Identification. This is the first step, and most people skip it because it is uncomfortable. Identifying means stopping in front of the mirror of your own mind and answering with sincerity. What is the dominant feeling I carry within me about money? What is the dominant feeling I carry within me about love? What is the dominant feeling I carry within me about my family? What is the dominant feeling I carry within me about my health? Note that I did not ask what you think, I asked what you feel. Because thought is still of the third dimension. Feeling is already of the fourth dimension. Feeling is the currency of the invisible plane. That time you glanced at your bank statement and your whole body sank. Even before you finished reading the number, that sinking is your dominant feeling revealed. And it is exactly this sinking that needs to be replaced. There is a word that Neville Goddard repeated until he was tired, and that word is assumption. It is not an easy word for the Brazilian ear. We are used to asking, to supplication, to promises, to novenas. But assumption is different. To assume in the law of assumption means to occupy with your feeling the state of the life you say you want to have. It is not wishing. It is not asking. It is occupying. It is sitting on the throne of the realized state. It is getting up in the morning before any evidence changes out there and feeling inside your chest, I am a man with money. I am a loved woman. I am a protected child of God. I am a mother whose family has been restored. Notice the choice of words, I am. Not I will be, not I deserve, not I ask, I am. Because I am is the sacred name. It is the signature of consciousness over matter. When you say I am followed by anything with feeling, you are signing in the invisible plane a new contract that overrides any previous pact. It is as if you entered the heavens notary office with a new deed, and the old deed in silence was archived. And here is the part that science has already confirmed, so you don't think this is just Brazilian mysticism. The HeartMath Institute in the United States has decades of research on the electromagnetic field of the human heart, and they discovered, with instruments, that the heart emits an electromagnetic field up to 60 times stronger than the brain. This wave passes through your skin, through the room, through the walls of your house. And most impressively, the frequency of this wave changes according to the dominant feeling you are experiencing. When you feel fear, the wave becomes disordered and short. When you feel gratitude, the wave becomes long, coherent, harmonious. You literally, with your feeling, are emitting your life out of you, and what is out there is only the echo of this emission. It is not mystical. It is measured in a laboratory. Now cross this science with 2,000 years of wisdom. What the heart emits, the world returns. What is felt as already realized, realizes itself. Feeling is the secret. It is not a pretty phrase for a wall frame. It is law. Are you able to see the assembly now? The pact against you is a frequency of fear, of lack, of unworthiness that was installed in your emotional emission. When you break the pact, you are not expelling a demon. You are changing your emission frequency. You are cleaning your signal. You are tuning your heart to a new station. And heaven, which has always been there waiting, finally manages to deliver to you what had been set aside for you since the first second of your life. That is why Archangel Michael weeps, because your liberation was never complicated. It only became complicated because no one taught you that the key was in your own chest. Now we enter the fourth dimension. This term scares some people, but I want you to relax. Fourth dimension is simply the technical name for the space where time does not work the same way as it does down here. Here, in the third dimension, there is yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There, in the fourth dimension, everything is now. That is why the Bible says, in more than one place, that to God 1,000 years are like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years. It is not poetry. It is a technical description. And when you occupy with feeling a state of life that has not yet happened down here, you are literally entering the fourth dimension and planting a new scene in the only place where scenes are planted, in the eternal now. Later, the third dimension, with its time, brings you the physical result of this planting. It may take days, it may take weeks, it may take months. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the seed was planted, and no pact can uproot what was planted with real feeling and persistence. Neville Goddard taught a technique for this, and it has a name: state akin to sleep. In Portuguese, it became known as the prayer before sleep, but it is much more than a prayer. It is a deliberate hijacking of your subconscious in those sacred minutes when you are lying down, with the light off, with slow breathing, about to fall asleep. At this exact moment, the door between the third and the fourth dimension is open, and any scene that you can with feeling, enact within your mind with your hand holding the hand of someone you love, with your body sitting in a place you dream of being, with your voice pronouncing a phrase you would like to hear. Any scene that you occupy at this moment enters directly into the program that will run in your field in the next 24 hours. That is why the Bible says that God instructs His own during the night. It is not a mystery. It is spiritual engineering. And it is also why the pact against you acts so much during your sleep, because it knows that this is the portal. That is why many people who are under a pact have insomnia, have nightmares, have night terrors, have that sensation of waking up more tired than when they went to sleep. The pact is trying to keep the portal dirty, and your technique is exactly to clean the portal before sleeping. The prayer before sleep is not asking. I need this to be very clear to you. It is not, Lord, fix my life. It is not, Lord, bless my house. It is a short film enacted by you, with you as the protagonist, already living the scene of life that you say you want to have. If you want reconciliation with a son, the scene is you hugging this son in the kitchen, smelling his hair, hearing his voice say, "Mom, I love you, forgive me." If you want a restored marriage, the scene is you and your spouse in bed, holding hands, in silence, feeling the peace of those who have returned. If you want money, the scene is you signing a paper, receiving a key, swiping the card without any tightness in your chest, and feeling the expansion of someone who is already prosperous. If you want healing, the scene is you walking, breathing deeply, feeling your body light and saying to someone dear, "Look how well I am." This scene, short, felt, repeated every night, is the decree in the fourth dimension, and it is, according to Neville, more powerful than any right you can pay for anyone to do for you. Because the act is yours, the signature is yours, the feeling is yours. No one can outsource it. But here comes the error that practically all Brazilians commit, and it is because of this error that so many good people, people of faith, honest people, go years without seeing the manifestation arrive. I will give you this error, with its first and last name, in a few seconds. Before, I need to tell you one thing. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If You Will Be Saved. On Judgment Day has, inside it, the step-by-step written prayer before sleep, adapted to the reality of the Brazilian over 35 years old. The one who has bills to pay, children to raise, a marriage to sustain, an elderly mother to care for, and who doesn't have time to become a monk to conquer the spiritual life they always wanted. The book was put together to fit into your day. They are short pages, direct language, no fluff, with ready-made decrees, with Michael's complete prayer, with the 7-night pact-breaking protocol, and with real testimonies of brothers who, after applying what is there, saw, in a few weeks, changes that 20 years of promises had not brought. The link is pinned in the comment at the top of the video and also in the description. Go there now, before the pact distracts you with a notification, with a call, with a thought of procrastination. Whoever postpones heaven postpones themselves. Comment "I accept" and follow with me, because the error I'm going to reveal to you now is the most important of this whole night. The error has a name. It is called inconstancy of feeling. You will understand in seconds. The person watches a video like this, gets electrified, goes to bed with a warm soul, does the short scene, feels the joy of the realized state, sleeps with God in their chest, wakes up the next day, opens the phone, sees the news, looks at the balance, feels the tightness, and in 3 seconds the frequency drops. The feeling they had cultivated during the night with such care is erased by the old frequency that is waiting outside of them. And then they spend the whole day vibrating the old pact. When night comes, they do the prayer before sleep again, Plant the seed once more, but the next day the same thing. This is like planting a seedling in the garden, pulling the seedling out the next morning, planting it again at night, pulling it out in the morning. The plant never grows, not because of the seed, because of a lack of persistence, not because of God, because of a lack of constancy in the state of consciousness, not because of the pact, because of not finishing breaking it during the day. Persistence on the path of the law of assumption is the most important virtue and the least taught. Persisting does not mean repeating a phrase. Persisting means returning every time your frequency drops to the new state you chose to occupy. It means, in the middle of the day, in the middle of the bank line, in the middle of traffic, in the middle of an argument, remembering yourself and saying quietly inside your head, "Wait, I am not this anymore. I am another. I am already in the other state," and returning to the feeling of the scene you planted. This is persistence. This is what Archangel Michael calls, in silence, faithfulness of the chest. And it is exactly this that breaks definitively any pact against any person in any lineage. Because the pact feeds on feeling. When your frequency remains constant on the new note, the pact no longer has a menu. It simply fades away from starvation. There is a powerful tool within this process that Neville called the bridge of incidents. I want to explain this to you calmly, because this part will give you enormous peace when you understand it. The bridge of incidents is the sequence of small events, apparently disconnected, that life begins to place in your path between the moment you assume the new state and the moment the physical reality reorganizes itself. They are unexpected phone calls, a name that returns, an idea that arises in the shower, a piece of news that falls into your lap, an acquaintance who reappears, a door that seemed closed and that unlatches out of nowhere. Each of these incidents is a brick of the bridge that the fourth dimension is building to deliver in the third dimension what you planted. The error, again, is that many people, without understanding what is happening, discard these incidents. They think it's just a coincidence. They think it has nothing to do with it, and they lose the chance to step on the brick that had been placed there especially for them. When you understand the bridge of incidents, you start to look at your entire week in another way. Each strange conversation, each random email, each memory that appears for no reason, each striking dream, everything starts to have the weight of a message. And that is when your intuition sharpens and you start to walk with the wisdom of someone who knows they are being led. I want to give you Brazilian examples, because all this theory without ground becomes cold. I will tell you about 3 people with changed names, but with real stories that reached me in messages. The first is Mrs. Higgins, 62 years old, from the interior of Ohio. A widow who had lived for 7 years with her oldest son cut off from her life, an ugly fight because of an inheritance that no one overcame. She had tried everything. Conversation, third party, novena, promise, fasting. Nothing moved. When she learned the prayer before sleep, she began to enact every night a very short scene. She and her son in her kitchen, him leaning against the doorframe saying, "Mum, is the coffee ready?" Just that. 30 seconds. But she felt it. She felt the smell of the coffee. She felt the warmth of the house. She felt the relief in her chest of seeing that face again. 23 nights. On the 24th, the phone rang. It was him. "Mom, I was wanting to have a coffee there." The bridge of incidents had been crossed. It wasn't magical. It was exact. The second is Charlie, 47 years old, an app driver in Charleston, married, 2 children, drowning in credit card debt. He came to the path with anger. Anger at the church, anger at the government, anger at life. It was his wife who insisted he watch a video similar to this one. He began to apply the law of assumption inside the car, in the middle of his shift, feeling, in silence, "I am a man free of debt." Feeling it for real. Not saying it. Feeling it. As if it already were. 32 days later, a client he had taken on a common ride remembered his face, called and offered a fixed private driver job with an income 4 times higher than the app. In less than 4 months, the card was paid off. The bridge of incidents had started inside the car with a feeling and landed in the bank account. The third is Anne, 38 years old, from Savannah, separated for 2 years. with her self-esteem turned to dust after a relationship that had destroyed her. She swore she would not love anyone else in her life. When she understood that the pact against her love had been renewed by herself every morning, by looking in the mirror and feeling disgust at her own image, she changed the game. She started a new inner dialogue. Every morning in the mirror, she said, in a low voice, "I am a loved, valued, chosen woman." She felt it. She forced the smile. She forced the sparkle in her eye until it became real. 60 days. It was 60 days until she met in a photography course she didn't even want to take, a man who she today calls a gift. The seed had been planted in the mirror. The fourth dimension did the rest. I tell you these stories because I want you to understand that this is not foreign theory. It is not a shelf book. It is not a speech from an expensive event stage. This is a technique that fits in your apartment, in your car, in your kitchen, in your bathroom, in your bed, in your silence. And it is exactly this that Archangel Michael today is offering you. Not the ready-made solution, the technique, because the ready-made solution does not transform you. The technique, yes, the technique changes you from within, and when you change from within, the pact ceases to have anywhere to lean on. There is one more thing I need to tell you before we close this night, and it is a serious thing, because it has to do with your inner dialogue. Your inner dialogue is the conversation that never stops inside your head, 24 hours a day. It is the voice that speaks while you brush your teeth, while you drive, while you eat, while you watch television, while you take a shower. This voice, in 90% of Brazilians, is in complaint mode. Complaining about the government, complaining about the boss, complaining about traffic, complaining about the family, complaining about the body, complaining about age. Each complaint is a new signature of the pact. Each complaint is your mouth ratifying the old contract. Therefore, changing the inner dialogue is the second great step, along with the prayer before sleep. You need, consciously, to take the conversation that runs inside your head and divert it from the complaining to the assumptive. Every time you catch yourself complaining internally in silence, you swap the phrase. "I don't have money" becomes "I am prosperous," and the proof is on the way. "No one loves me" becomes "I am loved," and love is already organizing itself to arrive. "My family is torn apart" becomes "My family is under Michael's coverage," and the reconciliation is descending now. It is not naive positivity, it is frequency engineering, and it works because the fourth dimension obeys the constancy of the inner dialogue, and not the volume of despair. You can scream your whole life asking, it will move nothing, but if you whisper, with persistence, that you already are, the whole heaven reorganizes itself. And I know that at this exact moment inside you, there is a part trying to doubt all of this. There is a voice saying, "This is internet stuff, this is a pretty phrase, this won't work with me, I am different, my situation is more difficult." This voice, I need you to know, is the pact defending itself. It feels that it is losing ground and is sending the last argument. When you recognize this voice, smile, because the smile alone is already the silent decree that you no longer buy its argument. You listen, thank it, and continue planting your seed. This firmness sustained is the most beautiful thing Archangel Michael can see happen in someone. He stops weeping and starts to smile, because he knows that his work finally can be concluded. There is a scene that I like to imagine, and I want to leave this scene with you before we finish. Imagine that there is a huge room, the size of a cathedral, and that this room is your spiritual life. The walls of this room were painted for decades with dark paints of fear, of anger, of hurt, of envy, of doubt. Each time someone said something harsh against you, a new layer of paint was applied. Each time you conformed to a defeat, another layer. And today, when you enter this internal room, you can barely see 2 spans in front of your nose. Now imagine that Archangel Michael arrived in this room with a bucket of paint of the lightest color that has ever existed, a color that looks like the light of dawn when the sun has not yet come out, but you already know it is coming. And he gives you a brush. He does not paint for you. He hands you the brush and tells you in silence, each brushstroke you make with feeling, each I am you pronounce with faith, each scene you enact before sleeping, each inner dialogue you reposition during the day, each complaint you refuse to renew, is a new brushstroke on the wall of your room. It doesn't happen all at once, but it happens. Brushstroke after brushstroke, the room lightens. And one day, without you noticing the exact date, you turn around in the middle of your own inner temple and see the entire room is luminous. The pact which lived in the dark has no more shadow to hide in. It goes away by itself, and what remains is the original light, the one that was there before any sentence, before any curse, before any wound. Your light. This is the work. It is not big, it is constant, it is not difficult, it is continuous, it is not expensive, it is intimate. And it is only yours. No one can enter this room for you. But everyone who entered one day, without exception, came out transformed. And this is what Archangel Michael came to offer you today through this video, in a language you understand, at a time you are available, at a level of spiritual fatigue that finally made you ready to listen. If you felt at any moment of this narrative a confirmation within your chest, if a tear escaped, if a shiver went up your back, if a name came to your memory, if an old scene returned, if a feeling of peace settled where before there was only tightness, then the pact has already begun to undo itself. The seed is already planted. Heaven has already heard you. The bridge of incidents is already being assembled in your week. All that is missing now is your decision to follow, to go to the end, to not abandon the technique on the third day, to not give up on the fifth, to persist until the physical manifestation appears, because it will appear. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If You Will Be Saved on Judgment Day is the material that will hold you on the nights you forget. It will remind you of the step-by-step on the days the frequency drops. It will give you the ready-made decree, the complete Michael prayer, the 7-night pact-breaking protocol, and the testimonies that will give you courage when doubt hits. The link is pinned to the top of the comments and also in the description of this video. It is not a coincidence that you reached this moment of the narrative. You were led. Whoever is led by Michael does not return to the old state of consciousness. Go now, before the next notification, before the next distraction, before the pact finds the next loophole. Get your book, open it to the first page, and start your night of rupture today. Hundreds of Brazilians have already written to me telling how everything turned around in less than 30 days. A house that breathed, a bill that eased, a marriage that returned, a son who called, health that responded. None of them were special. They just stopped procrastinating. Do not procrastinate today. This video can be taken off the air at any moment, and when it goes, this access goes with it. Comment, I am ready to break. Make your comment your third decree of acceptance, and we will see each other on the other side of the pact. I want to end this night with a direct word, from heart to heart. You did not reach this channel by chance. You did not reach this video by chance. You did not reach this last minute by chance. Each word spoken here was placed by heaven in the exact length, in the exact tone, in the exact rhythm to touch a part of you that had been asleep for a long time. And this part has now woken up. Archangel Michael no longer weeps, he smiles, because the person he was trying to reach finally heard, and now the responsibility passes hands. It is no longer heaven that has to move, it is you. But you are not alone. You have the technique, you have the channel, you have the book, you have the decree, you have the prayer, you have the bridge of incidents that has already begun to assemble while I spoke. You have everything you need. It is only missing to walk. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, How to Know If You Will Be Saved on Judgment Day, with the step-by-step of the 7 nights of rupture. The link is in the description and pinned to the top of the comments. Go now, without thinking, without procrastinating, without asking anyone. This is between you and heaven. Comment before leaving. The word Amen with faith. This comment is the final seal of this night. It is your name signed back on the contract of light. It is your conscious acceptance of the new life that is descending for you. May Michael cover you with his sword. May the original light envelop you. And may your entire lineage, living and ancestral, receive the liberation that began in you tonight. I will meet you on the other side of the manifestation. Go with God, go with Michael, go with your new consciousness. And remember, always, Feeling is the secret. Persistence is the key. I am is the signature. And the fourth dimension always obeys the constancy of your chest. Amen.